Hey, this is Nick from Remedy667.com, and today we're going to be talking about ampersands. If you want to learn more about horror fonts or see some wild, fun business, check out Remedy667.com. There's my bump. Let's get to the friggin' ampersands. As you can see on my screen, we're working in Adobe Illustrator, and we're going to be referencing some ways that I've drawn ampersands in the past, and I'm also going to be looking at Karen Chang's method in designing type, which is an amazing book for learning how to design type. Know the rules before you break the rules. So, first, I'm going to look at my method that I use quite a bit, which involves an S and a T, and you duplicate the S, and then I'm just going to cut it down the middle. Sometimes I reflect it, I don't know, but this seems good right now. So basically what I'm looking for here is I got this continuous line in the S, and that's going to fall probably a little closer. All right, so cut that right there, that right there, and that's my top. Into my bottom, I actually want this to dip a little bit more evenly and use that part. And then this side is gonna also this side's also gonna be continuous. And then I'm gonna take my T and I'm gonna chop its head off because I'm mean. And that continuous one there, reel it in a bit, and the top is gonna go here. And we'll reel that in a little bit, get them kind of even. So that is our first style of ampersand. This is how I frequently make ampersands, but not always. Oh, I forgot, I was going to say a fun ampersand fact. So the word ampersand comes from the phrase and per se, and being, sped up, slurred, slanged, however, and it comes from, I believe, the Latin letters E-T. So for the E-T, we're going to grab an E and a T and make a second style of ampersand that I will make sometimes, where I literally take the E and the T and I'll kind of line them up at the top. I need this side of my T to come down a little bit because I want this crossbar in the middle to look a little more even. And right now it's not. So there we go. And that's optically. So there's an ET style ampersand. As you can see, it's drastically different. We can also do the ET ampersand where the T will just go to the baseline and not go far down like that, which is more like this. It looks a little weird, but sometimes in context, like if you have like a really blocky display font or something like that, sometimes that style of ampersand can fit and make a lot more sense, especially if all the other characters are blocky. You don't want such a rounded character like that. So then I got into the designing type book, like I'd mentioned earlier, and she mentioned making an ampersand with a 3 and a T. And it was actually with a lowercase t, but I don't have a lowercase t, so I'm just going to use what I got. I'm reflecting the E, and because the angle is a little different there, I'm just going to tilt it a little bit over. And I'm going to duplicate that because I love duplicating things. All right, so in the book, she has it go kind of to the middle, like where this is going up would be that part of the T, and where that on the 3 is going across, that would be your crossbar of the T. And there is that ampersand, which is pretty good. Earlier I was playing around with this and I was like, you know, what if that ampersand picked up some traits of the other two? So we start with that, right? But then instead of cropping it off, we just cut it and rotate this. Which I didn't think really looked that great. But one thing I did like was I tried another one where I had it dip below the baseline, which I did kind of enjoy a bit. And that would be that style. So there you go. You get from 4 letters, you get 6 different types of ampersands. Let me go ahead and put a white box around them so you can see them a little better, higher contrast. And I'm going to go ahead and give them each a number, C, D, E, F. And you can go ahead and type the number of your favorite in the comments. Yeah, that's about it. Those are some ampersands. This is the slow part. All right, so there you go. A, B, C, D, E, F. Which ampersand is your favorite? Which one should I use more? Which one do you think you would use more? Which ones do you like to use? I don't know. Do you ever use ampersands? Anyway, this is Nick with Remedy667. Check out remedy667.com for some of the best horror fonts on the internet. And I will see you next week for Horror Font Friday.